Not paying the full amount for a family-style dinner where I only ate bread? My wife and I are both vegan, but we don't make a big deal out of it. We don't judge others for their choices and we don't expect them to accommodate us. We usually just find something we can eat wherever we go, or eat beforehand if we know the options are limited. One of my friends invited us to his birthday dinner at a restaurant in Brooklyn. He said it was a last-minute thing and he didn't have time to make reservations, so we just had to show up and hope for the best. We checked the menu online and saw that there were not many vegan options, except for chips and guacamole, hummus, and bread. We decided to eat a snack at home and then order drinks and appetizers at the restaurant. We also have been tight with money lately because of some medical expenses, so we didn't want to spend too much on food we couldn't eat anyway. When we got to the restaurant, we found out that they were doing it all family style and splitting the bill evenly among everyone. There were about 15 people in our group, and they ordered a lot of food, most of which was meat or cheese-based. The only thing we could eat was the bread, so we just had a couple of slices each and 2 beers each. At the end of the night, my friend sent me a Venmo request for $120 for our share of the dinner. I was shocked by the amount, since our 4 drinks were only $32 plus tip, so about $40. I texted him back and explained that we didn't know it was going to be family style, and that we only had the beers and some bread. I said I would send him $60 to cover our drinks and a bit extra for the bread. He got angry and said that we should have told him we were vegan, and that it was rude to not participate in the family-style dinner. He said that everyone else paid their fair share, and that we were being cheap and selfish. He said that he expected us to pay the full amount. The decision to make it a family-style meal was done last second too because the restaurant had no idea a party of 15 was showing up. Otherwise we could have split the bill per party and been fine. I don't think we did anything wrong. We didn't ask for any special treatment, and we didn't complain about the food. We just ate what we could and tried to have a good time. We also didn't want to make a scene or cause any drama by announcing our dietary preferences. We thought $60 was more than enough for what we consumed, and we didn't want to pay for food we couldn't eat. Comment 1. NTA for refusing to pay $120 and your friend is kinda being a jerk about it. I do think to some extent that it would have helped if you'd been a little more upfront about saying, hey, there's really nothing here we can eat, so that they'd have either tried to order more of the very few items you could eat and or not have expected you to pay as much. I hate this method of paying for meals, but if you know it's going to be split up like that, it's probably better to speak up early than wait until after the meal is over to negotiate what's fair for you. It's also tough to be the person who has to request payments from everybody at the end of a meal, and I'm wondering if he got stuck paying $180 or if the rest of the party made up for the other half of what he'd requested from you. Comment 2. ESH. You should have told him when you realized that everyone was going to order family style and split the bill evenly that you and your wife wanted to be excluded since you were vegan. That way, you could have ordered what you wanted and paid for what you wanted, and the rest of the bill could have been split evenly amongst those who enjoyed it. By not mentioning you were vegan, pretending to go along with it, then refusing to pay more than your share, you heap the $60 that you refused to pay onto your friend, rather than having it split evenly over the entire group. He gets a whole status too, however, for inviting people out for his own birthday, cringe, and for calling you rude not to participate in a family-style dinner. Telling off my Phil after he asked about my weight post-giving birth? Okay, so I am a week postpartum and quite tired and in recovery. My Phil is a retired doctor, a GP to be precise. He is generally a kindly man and we haven't had issues the 10 years I've been with my husband. When I was in the 3rd trimester, I noticed he made a lot of unwarranted and unsolicited comments with regards to my condition. For instance, I had gestational diabetes. He seemed to disagree with the advice of my highly regarded endocrinologist. Then he asked me when I was getting induced into labor and said I should be induced at 38 weeks because of my GD age and that my placenta could degrade and result in stillbirth. I found that incredibly insensitive and told my husband that if he says one more thing about my body and our birth choices, which are entirely conventional, by the way, I ended up going into spontaneous labor right on 40 weeks and had a smooth delivery, I would have a word with him. Today he came to visit the baby. He asked me if I've started exercising yet. Both my husband and I were surprised and said no, and my husband added that I needed bed rest, on the advice of both my OB and physio. My physio advised half an hour on my feet per day, building it up gently and going for small walks with intense exercise from 6 weeks. Phil said he disagreed. Okay. Then he asked me if I've been weighed yet. That threw us both for a loop. We didn't know why that would matter. Not that it should matter, but I'm a petite woman and have always been skinny. I look appropriate for 1 week postpartum. Then he said I should be careful about diabetes down the line. My husband asked him what that had to do with my weight, and he said, well, you should look to getting back in shape. I saw red. I told him to keep his nose out of my body, and that I already had a team of doctors looking after me, and he wasn't one of them. He said I'm coming from the point of a concerned Phil. I replied that's even more inappropriate and that any more unsolicited comments, I would consider not allowing him in my house. He looked taken aback but apologized, mumbling about concern, and then left. He has a history of depression and looked very sad when he departed, which made me doubt myself. Comment 1. NTA. Even if he meant well, the questions were incredibly invasive, inappropriate, and frankly none of his business. As long as you're listening to your doctors, your Phil shouldn't be trying to insert his opinion into your recovery plan. Comment 2. Unless there are some unusual medical indications, half an hour on your feet per day, building up, is ridiculous. Lack of activity puts you at greater risk of postpartum embolism. Your Phil asking about your weight and specific exercise is rude and out of order. He is correct that gestational diabetes needs follow-up. NTA. Comment 3. Nah. I'm a type 1 diabetic myself, and unfortunately a lot of what your Phil said is true. Diabetics can have issues with their placenta in pregnancy, and are almost always induced early to avoid complications. Secondly, many people who have GD go on to having type 2 diabetes later in life. It's sort of a risk factor/warning. Now your Phil was never asked for his opinion, and I can absolutely understand your feelings of wanting him to shut up. He is in a weird position though. He has, correct, medical knowledge and is sharing it because I think he cares about you and feels an urge to say something. Sort of a damned if you don't sort of situation. Posting a picture of the boy who broke my camper window online? I'm 20F. I've been living out of my camper for the past 6 months since my ex-landlord decided to sell the house. I lost my job 2 months ago because of budget cuts, and it was a last-in first-out situation. I've been living mostly off of savings and managed to find a part-time job in my local Burger King. I don't live in a bad area, but lately we've had a problem with destructive teenagers. This morning while I was working, I parked in the park close by to avoid paying for parking in the car park. At about 3 p.m. I received a call from the police station saying my camper had been vandalized and to go down there to talk to them, so I did, and they said even with the dash cam footage I had they probably wouldn't be able to do anything, especially if he was under 16. My window driver is broken and it's not affordable for me to fix myself and later get compensation at the moment, so I took it upon myself to find out who he is and posted a photo from the dash cam footage on the community Facebook group. His mother eventually got onto me and was livid that I posted a photo of her child online and ruined the family's reputation all over boys being boys. She told me she wasn't paying me shit and I'd have to see her in court if I wanted the money for it. I handed the boy's name to the police, but they said it could be weeks or months before I hear anything. I'm staying with a friend tonight since I couldn't get the window boarded up yet, and told her what happened and about the incident with the mother, and she thinks I'm the a-hole for posting a child online and for affecting the family's status, as I could have made a vague post in hopes of his mother coming forward and being cooperative. Comment 1, NTA. I can't even imagine what my mother would say if I was caught doing something like that. You'd be receiving a hefty check from my own savings account and my mom would make me fix it myself. She'd probably send a muffin basket or something as well. It amazes me how parents are surprised that their children turn into people who don't realize consequences exist when they coddle them so much. Comment 2. NTA. Boys will be boys is digging a hole at the beach or laughing at farts. It isn't causing property damage to someone's shelter who is already struggling, which sounds like it may have even been targeted specifically because he thinks there will be no consequences. Not being punished for this will lead this boy to much worse situations than having to get a job or do some chores to earn the money to pay a few $100 to replace a window. Comment 3. NTA. The teen was on what I would assume to either be your land, your family's land, or public property. There is no expectation of personal privacy on another's property or private property unless you've been invited or are in a restroom. You also needed the teen identified and his family never would have come forward about it. She is trying to shirk responsibility with the whole kids just being kids thing. Sue his mother for the repair cost, and if she doesn't pay, take her back and put a lien on her property. Telling my niece to quit telling me if a random celebrity is problematic? I do not mean celebrities who are genuinely extremely horrible people. I, 36M, have a niece, 19F, who is obsessed with a certain celebrity gossip group. She says she reads it and participates in it a good 2 hours a day, and she brings it up constantly to me. I literally cannot mention a song/show/movie/etc. I like without her bringing up stuff she read about the celebrity in question. And it comes down to the stupidest stuff like deciding she hates somebody because of their vibe or because they made a dumb tweet when she was a toddler. Even if they apologized. If she really hates an actor, she will swear up and down their movie will flop, as if literally everybody on the planet read the same 100% confirmed true comment from 2 years ago about the actor being an entitled diva on set. A few hours ago when she was visiting, I live in Manhattan, and she lives in New Jersey, I unfortunately forgot she could get like this, and she saw I had a movie laying out. She said, "No offense, but how can you enjoy this movie?" She explained the actress had some drama with a One Direction singer a few years ago, and that it was a huge surprise she still had fans. I honestly forgot what happened there because it was so stupid. I said something to the effect of, "Literally nobody in real life cares about this stuff as much as you do. Call people out if they are supporting or defending horrible people, but you need to stop obsessing over low-level drama." She argued that I was being rude and enabling toxic celebrities, and I told her to leave because I was not in the mood to argue with her over a freaking movie. She left, and texted me that she would be blocking my number because I apparently made her feel too embarrassed to talk about her hobbies anymore, and that it took her so much to get here, from Hoboken, and I ruined the city for her. My sister, aka her mom, told me I was out of line and to not have Thanksgiving with them. Comment 1. NTA. You delivered a basic, fairly non-controversial truth to your niece. Unfortunately, people of her age, and I, and every other older person on earth bar the narcissists, speak from personal experience here, can be pretty self-righteous and so won't take any of that on board until they're older. Life has hit them with a few serious swings of the home truths bat and they've developed a bit of humility. You're still right though. She's being obnoxious, pretentious and largely idiotic. Comment 2. NTA. Gossiping about gossip is definitely a teen hobby, but it shouldn't be. Her mother is out of line here. I have a 19-year-old and yes, she's on this celebrities must be held to higher account than all others in society thing too, so I remind her that I also have made mistakes and my upbringing and the society I grew up in encouraged and applauded certain mindsets. Sometimes I think it makes her realize that people aren't infallible because of their career, sometimes I think it goes in one ear and out the other. Comment 3. NTA. And here's a cool thing about not going to Thanksgiving dinner. Most supermarkets let you order Thanksgiving dinner in advance. They'll cook the entire thing, and you just pick it up. Then you go home and lie around in your PJs on the big day and watch whatever you want on TV, have your friends over, take naps, whatever you want to do. Everyone is problematic in some sense, including your niece, because people are complicated. Some people are way worse than others, but nobody is perfect. Everyone has done something shitty at some point in their life.
Not giving up my 20F bedroom. For context, I 20F live with my dad, 56M, after my parents got a divorce when I was 7. I haven't spoken to my mum, 44F, in 5 years. My dad remarried last year without telling me. The wife, 40F, moved in last year December. To keep it short, she starts arguments with my dad about me. They have all been about me. She wants my bedroom. I have a single ensuite, but I'm not giving it up. Bear in mind I told my dad I will give them the bedroom August 2024 when I go study abroad for a year. A few days ago, she gave me an ultimatum: either give us the room or get a dorm. I just ignored her. Today, I came back from the gym and she was like, "Did you decide?" I just said no and walked to my bedroom. I feel bad because my dad is stressed, but I'm not backing down. The wife is annoying me.